Barry says KISW Miss Rock might want to hop into this Consolation as well. Two boats are going to sit it out. The first is the Pietro's Pizza. They are the alternate.
It looks like lagging behind a little bit will be the Miss Rock as well as the U.S. West Cellular. Okay, now
looks
they're getting
like
on
Jack
a little
has
bit.
got to make a good, strong run at the clock. She wants to get way up far outside. A good long run. Keep that.
There he is.
Hard. Oh, yeah. Keep
Looks
it
like
going,
he's going
buddy.
to do just that, Steve. You must be listening.
Must be.
Okay, lane 1's going to be the Jackpot. Lane 2, the KISW. Lane 3, and lagging back just a little bit and getting a little wet also is Todd Yarling in the U.S. West Cellular. And on the outside, Jack Schaefer Jr. all a little bit on the early side. They're backing down. Now here comes the U.S. West up the middle. Good start for Todd. And he comes charging down into that first corner out front. The U.S. West Cellular. Todd's getting a good ride without that wing.
Not bad at all. Very good ride.
Although he's cornering out about the 7 lane, and that's the inside lane track for him at this point. He's still got lots of boat speed as he comes out of that turn. Everybody getting through nice and clean. Hey, the boat ride looks very nice.
Well, they may leave whoa, look out. They may leave the back of that off, Mike.
Well, as he mentioned, every single surface is a planing surface, and you don't really know what a boat's going to do without it. But this particular boat's looking pretty good, and that's the U.S. West Cellular. This one, however, is not looking so good, and that's the KISW, trailing in 4th place right now. Up into the upper corner now. Here's the U.S. West. And this will be a real test of the water. We'll take a look and see how Todd handles this. Handles it very nicely, as a matter of fact. Comes off the corner very nicely. Winning one for Mom and for the phone company. And looking good. U.S. West Cellular.
What kind of speed on that, Mike?
That one looks like 110 miles an hour. Not too bad at all, actually. For a boat that doesn't have a lot of control surfaces, aerodynamic control surfaces, that's not bad. Jack Schaefer comes across at 98.5, not giving much chase. The Jackpot is lagging back in 3rd place. Jackpot Food Mart, as we watch Todd move through that lower corner. Jackpot gets an 88 and 83.7 miles an hour for the Miss Rock. Here's your leader, down the back chute. Steve, they actually can learn a little bit without those wings, can't they? When they see what the boat does all by itself, can they not?
Yes, they can. They get a good feel of the boat, how the boat runs without the controlled surfaces on there. Get a good idea how better it can run with them on there.
And as a matter of fact, interestingly enough, back east, they were taking the wing off the Circus and trying to see what it would do without that. Here's Todd now, off the quarter, very wide, keeps the RPMs up, points the nose south again, gets on it. He's handling the rollers really quite nicely. He's getting a bounce, plenty of bounce all right, but he's still handling quite nicely. Here's a boat that's a little heavier coming through the corner, and that's, of course, the Miss Northwest with Jack Schaefer. He's coming through it nice and clean, too. 111.2 for U.S. West on lap number 2. Jack Schaefer now coming down. And he points his nose across at 98.5. Jerry Hopp out of the north turn now. Considerably down on speed, but holding 3rd place down. Checker flying from the barge now for this fellow, Todd Yarling. He also laps Jack Schaefer, comes down to finish and win the consolation race for Seafair Rainier Cup. And this represents a comeback for this team, because they were trashed already this morning.
Tremendous comeback for these guys.
99.5 for the final lap, and Todd's got to be feeling good, but he's bouncing around in there. You can see that. He's getting a rough ride.
I'll tell you something. You get run over as he got clipped. His boat went down, and he got clipped in 1A, and he comes back to pick up a 5th place. And then he comes out and wins the Consolation. That's a little more than they may have expected out of this day after what happened at noon.
You're right about that. There's Jack Schaefer, elbow out the window. I think he's yelling over to Boatman saying, "Say, fella, you got an engine?" Those little blinking lights, by the way, are...
Dryden, he's the crew chief for the U.S. West Cellular boat. A lot of emotion going on down here right now. Not only the winning of the consolation race for Todd's mom, but just getting the boat back out on the course. He's giving all the credit to you guys and the crew.
Yeah, we had a real rough start in the first heat, and everybody pulled together, and we put the boat back together. Weren't really sure if it was going to get up on a plane without the cowling and the wing, but she pulled together, and we did a good job.
One of the crew guys. On a hot summer day, when the temperatures are high, there's nothing better than a nice little wind to cool things off, unless you're an unlimited hydroplane driver.
He comes up on the right sponson. He can't get it down. Boat thinks it's an airplane. Can't get enough altitude. Comes over in a 360-degree flip. Hits upside down. Bounces on the tail. And then comes right side up, and that's lucky that happened.
Mother Nature and her winds are some of the worst elements facing hydro drivers today. The design of the boats and their 200-mile-an-hour speeds, coupled with gusting winds, have produced some of the most dramatic blowover crashes in the past 2 years. The wind is something that everyone is constantly monitoring.
The wind's the one that really gets us bad. When the ship went upside down in New York, it was due to a 20-mile-an-hour headwind. You know, you just can't run into those conditions. You got to save it when you run into the headwind and then go run it all out when you're running downwind.
Last week in the Tri-Cities, the wind played her games once again. With gusts of over 20 knots, the race was put on hold. Some testing took place, but racing was at a standstill. The white-capped river was just too rough for anyone to attempt to race.
Well, it's gusting, as you can see, 20 to 5 miles an hour, and the racetrack actually is in pretty good shape for half of it, but the other half is pure junk. And we have 2 to 3 foot holes in the back chute, and entering turns 3 and 4, you run right into the teeth of a 25-mile-an-hour wind, and of course, that's what got me over in Detroit and Chip over in Syracuse. So right now, I'd say it'd be prudent to wait.
By 1 o'clock, the wind had calmed down enough for a race to take place. Heat 1 was run in very choppy water with the Miss Budweiser the easy winner. Without much notice to the changing winds, Heat 1B was also set in motion. Scott Pierce, who has experienced 2 major accidents in Miami and Detroit, headed the Miss Pringles out onto the race course into the wind and the chop. Steve David, the driver of the Miss Pietro's Pizza, had made some test runs and still wasn't convinced the water was good yet.
Oh yeah, it's nice 3 to 5 foot seas out there. A great day for sailing, lousy day for unlimited.
As the race began, the wind came up again, and the water was very rough. Scott brought the Miss Pringles down the back chute and began going into turns 3 and 4. As Scott remembered later, everything was in great shape until turn 4.
I was driving the boat real slow. Just was running hard enough to be in front, and which we were, and I evidently hit something hellacious in the water, a big hole, and it got that right sponson up. And when that right sponson on the Pringles comes up, it's all done for. It's demonstrated that 3 different times.
When all the spray had settled, the boat and driver had survived another ride on the wind. Scott and Miss Pringles were brought back to the pits with damage to both. Torn ligaments in the already injured leg of Scott Pierce and extensive body damage to his boat. Ironically, with so many hydroplane experts worried about the higher speeds of the boats and their aerodynamic design, it was Mother Nature that had the final word for the Miss Pringles in Pasco. A final word we don't want to hear in Seattle.